What's up, everyone? This is Dak again, back to Comfortable Being Uncomfortable, the podcast where we kind of keep it real and straight and talk all things nonsense, but then some real stuff too. So today I have my co-host, the BS you can only trust. It's going to be really weird for me because I don't ever call him this, but I am going to respect the artistry that he
The
is.
only BS you can trust.
The only BS you can trust is with us today, who happens to be one of my best friends, who definitely has been rapping as long as I've known him, back to our NYU days, and it has been beatboxing as well. Um, has a degree in psychology, which is really awesome and great. So we have like really great conversations. And he can actually rollerblade, and he does it around the city all the time, which I think is pretty cool. So you don't see a lot of those combinations happen. He goes to Blade Camp every year in Europe. It also tells me how awesome it is. So I'm looking forward to talking a little bit about that. And everything else we're going to talk about on the show today, because I can't talk, is my recent travels to Orlando for Memorial Day weekend and a quick recap of some of the series finales that's happened um, around TV. So and of course, we'll talk everything Marvel and DC because this is what me and BS do all the time. So, BS, thank you for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me, Dak.
Yeah. Before I get into myself, how was your Memorial Day weekend? Did you do anything crazy, fun, interesting?
Memorial Day weekend. What did I do Memorial Day weekend? I don't know. I have to check my have to look at my calendar.
Like I did something.
I
but
did
don't remember
something,
what it was.
and it was probably really sweet. Memorial Day weekend. I threw a show.
See, that was something. That
I
was
threw a
pretty
show.
cool.
My friend Jack Dawkins and I co-produced a show called The Homies, and we
Nice.
invited our friend Precious Gorgeous to perform with us, and my freestyle rap initiative, Freestyle Fitness NYC. We had our first like little showcase, and
Nice.
so a bunch of community members performed for the first time. It was really, really cool, really powerful. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then on Monday, it was the homie PJ O'Rourke, the mind behind Fly Life.
Ooh, okay.
It was his birthday, so got to go and hang with him for a second, and also filmed a little bit of skating. Just for like future promotional,
Yeah, like your own B-roll, right?
yeah,
Okay, nice.
So
Okay.
more like not so much like tricks, but more just kind of skating around and like catching a vibe.
Now, how was the wedding weather here in New York? Because normally it rains around Memorial Day. Did you guys get any rain or anything like
It was a
crazy?
little humid,
Okay, so that's pretty
but
good.
it wasn't bad. The weather was good.
Yeah.
It was just warm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was in Florida because ideally it rains all the time in Florida, as we all know. I ended up going to Disney, so I was supposed to be going on a cruise with my friends, but unfortunately, work sidelined that and they went a week earlier. Ideally, me and my friends like to do our like a cabin trip or something around Memorial Day,
Cool.
but they moved up a week to go to Alaska on a cruise, and I was like, no. So I was like, can't do that. Also, don't want to do that. So
Summer Alaska's dope though.
I, whatever. It's 7 days on a boat. I just don't have time for that. Honestly, it's me personally. I just
Think about how much beautiful trouble you could get into 7 days on a boat.
well, it's the people that were on the boat as well. So, I have to consider those things in my overall decision making. But ideally, instead, one of my best friends, her birthday is around that time, around Memorial Day, so weekend. So I said, oh, instead, I'll go down there and just hang out with them and, chill and stuff. So it was really nice. So as you know, I used to work for Disney. And if anyone doesn't know, I used to work for the Walt Disney Company. And so a lot of my friends are used to be in Disney, and they still live in Orlando. The case is so nowadays, as I've gotten older, I realize when I go back to Disney, which I'm so thankful for my friends who always get me in. Shout out friends. I don't need to ride rides when I go there anymore. Like now,
No.
I just want to go there and get drunk. Like I,
Classic.
I literally like go to like I went to Epcot and I was like, I'm not gonna ride any rides. I'm gonna go around the world and just drink. And I was with my friend B, and I was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. And that's literally all we did. And I was like, we could ride a ride because they built the Guardians of the Galaxy right there. But
I
I've ridden
didn't know they
that.
had that now.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
it gives me a headache. It's nice. It's a great ride. But
okay.
it's just like a long wait, hours waits, and then you don't get on it, and it's like, and I did it like last time, but I'm also like, I come here so often, it's not really a priority on my list. I can always come back and do this another time.
Okay, okay.
So I just wanted to go around the world and drink, and that's literally what we did. And we had a great dinner at La Celia. I haven't been back there in a while. It was so good. It's like a steakhouse there, so amazing. And that was my Disney adult day. And then the next day, I just went to Animal Kingdom and I watched shows. No rides. Well,
Oh,
except for like the safari, but that don't really count as a real ride. But like not Everest or anything else like that. And I
okay.
still got drunk. So I got drunk and looked at animals, and I got drunk around the world. So I don't know if that means I'm an alcoholic, but I think ideally it just made me realize Disney's a lot funner when you drink.
Okay, there's a theme here.
There's a theme here, but it made it like really interesting. So I only did two parks. I didn't go to Magic Kingdom. I didn't know Hollywood Studios, and I was just okay with that. And I was totally fine
All
with that
right.
scenario. But my friend, she lives in Mount Dora, which is like maybe about 30, about probably an hour outside of the kind of Orlando metro area. But they have a great small town there, and so we just kind of went around the town. It's like a big lake around Lake Mount Dora, or they call it Mount Dora, but Lake Dora. And we just like hung out, and we just like had the little air rec area they had. We had a party in our backyard, barbecued it. Like it was just nice, you know. It was just nice to be able to do that. Do I miss our cabin trip? Of course, but we all decided we were going to do that starting early this year. So that's going
Nice.
to be on our plan to make that happen next year. So, other than that, I thought it was a great Memorial Day. The only downside I had on this trip is that I got my car towed, my rental.
Oh no.
And yeah, you want to know how that happened?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I went to the club. I went to this club Savoy, and they have a parking lot across the street from the club. So I thought I paid enough money to put in the meter because they do like a license plate, like you got to pay whatever, pay and you go. I think everything's fine, so I go off and whatever, go to the club, see my friends, have a cocktail or two, and then I'm like, okay, it's time to go. So they had Uber there, so I was like, well, I can drive us back because I didn't really drink that much, so I was like, I'm cool. So we go back to go to the car. The car's not there. And so I'm using a beep, the clicker, and I'm like, I know I parked this car here. I know no one didn't steal it. I mean, unless Orlando's gotten really crazy in the last year, I don't see how you stole the car. So I'm going through trying to figure out, like, look at signs, like, is there a towing company? Like, something that shows there. Finally, call the towing company. The guy's like, oh, yeah, we towed it. You were off by like 20 minutes. And I'm like, this is like 2 in the morning. Were you that bored to like tow this car at 2 in the morning? You could not fucking, like, I was like, all right, whatever.
Meanwhile, little do you know that this person lives for that moment.
I was probably with that. So I'm just sitting there. I'm like, all right. So one of my friends is pretty wasted. And my other friend is like, all right, let's get him home. And like, we can take care of the car situation later. And I was like, I'm not going to go to this place at 2 a.m. And they're like, well, we don't take credit cards. Our machine is out. It's some Florida shit. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm just going to deal with this in the morning. So I had to get it in the morning, got down there. And then when I got there to get the car, the guy was like, oh, some other car is blocking your car, which you get an additional 20 minutes just to get the vehicle back. I was just like, okay. That was a very interesting scenario. So outside of that, Orlando was amazing. But I learned to make sure that I pay for parking so my rental doesn't get towed. Um, and I guess I always have cash, apparently, because they don't take credit cards at some towing companies. Who knew that? I don't
Wow.
know, but that was a thing. So overall, it was a great Memorial Day weekend. Besides that. Anyway, on to new topics. We're going to talk about a few series finales. And I know you've only watched maybe one or two of these shows, but there's a lot of shows that ended. So Ted Lasso technically isn't canceled according to
I
Apple
heard it was
TV,
like done though, like that they
but
wanted to end
yeah, the
it.
story, like obviously the way
No
that
spoilers.
fine, if you didn't
Thank,
watch it by now, watch it. But
thank you.
ideally, it was supposed to end on a 3-season arc, but it just didn't seem that way. So I don't know.
Mm.
But Apple TV hasn't officially canceled it. So I don't know if that means there's spinoffs. I don't know if that means different character. I don't know.
Interesting. I always took it like how Breaking Bad. They were like, it's 5 seasons and we're done.
And that's what I thought.
Okay.
But it just it seemed like a great closure, but it's weird to me because usually if it's a series finale, it would say series finale, but it didn't even say that. It just said season.
Dun, dun.
So I don't know. It was great. It was good, but it's sad to see it go. But also, I think we talked about this before, like when shows go over like their prime, it's like it's best to just
Yeah, quit while you're
cut what
ahead.
don't overdo it, don't
Don't,
try to add another season or
don't bleed
draw
it
something.
dry.
Yeah, take it for what it is and like make it a great show and then leave it at that. And like, yeah, you're gonna miss it, but ideally you have a complete story. So that's how I felt about that. Succession's kind of the same way. So Succession was 4 seasons and it wrapped up this past Sun no last Sunday, sorry, last Sunday. And it was amazing. And I thought it was great. But the same thing, I'm glad they didn't run it out. Like, it was good at
Hmm.
the 4 seasons. It was just a great show. HBO obviously has amazing shows anyway, so it was really good. But it's just kind of sad because you watch these shows for the last couple of years, and now you're like, do I have to find new shows to watch now? Like what do
Yes.
you do? Like when your show, like you had a favorite show and it ends, like what do you do? Do you have a morning process, or you just like, all right, I'm gonna watch something new?
Um, it depends. Is the show like ending, or do I have to wait an indefinite amount of time for a next season?
Ending.
Ending. I usually celebrate it as long as it feels like it ends in a satisfying way. I think then it's like
Hmm.
cool. But if the ending is like a major letdown, then it's I try not to let the ending reflect on the whole show watching experience.
Mm,
Sometimes easier said than done,
very true.
but usually I kind of have like a queue of shows. Like it's like, oh, what's next? Or just
Yeah.
kind of having uh like I was really into My Hero Academia. And
Oh, you
I
were telling me about that show.
oh my
Yeah.
god, I loved
Yeah.
it. But there's like 6 seasons, and then there's like the final season is coming out sometime next year. So it's one of those where
Yeah.
I'm just like waiting. And it was one of those where I got to the end of where it was, and it was just like, oh my god, like everything is like reaching
Yeah.
a boiling point. So there's like this like So, but my process after that was I had a friend of mine, my friend Camille. Shout out to Camille Harris.
Shout
Um,
out Camille Harris.
yeah, excuse me, Harris Skinner.
Harrison Skinner.
Yeah. Oh, she got married recently. Shout out to Camille and Tim.
Shout out.
Um, but they put me on Babylon Berlin, and
Ooh,
I just
okay.
started watching that. And since
Yeah.
I'm learning German, like it's great to have like a German language TV show.
Awesome.
Um, is like so I'm on episode I just started watching it, and it's really exciting. So it was kind of cool to go from like anime to this like just kind of I guess different non-US
Yeah.
like based programming. So it felt kind of
And I
cool.
think they're better too. I mean, it feels like even with BBC America, some shows, I think their shows are so much, nothing against American shows, but I just think they're written so well, it's had a different take on things. And I think
It's a
as a
different
US
perspective.
person coming in, you're like, oh, this gives you a little like limelight to it,
It's a
which I
different
feel like they might feel for our shows too. So it's definitely true.
it's a different angle. It's a different perspective.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And I mean, especially in these, right? Like My Hero Academia, it's like it's happening in Japan.
Hmm.
Like Babylon Berlin, it's happening in like 1929 Berlin.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so, it's cool to kind of have these like different settings and cultural contexts that come with those different settings. I find really really fun. But I'm trying to think like what shows I like. I watched Dark, another German show.
Ooh,
Dark is so good. Oh my
really?
god, yes.
What is it
Ooh.
about? You tell
I,
our listeners just a brief synopsis of it.
so it's kind of a like a mind bendy kind of noir. I don't want to. It's so hard to describe without giving it away because it's one of those shows where like you watch it and you're like, okay, I think I have a grip on what's happening, and then the writers do something to turn the whole show on its head, and you were like, I have no idea what's happening now, and I need to find out. It's only 3 seasons. It wraps up in 3 seasons.
Right.
But that was one where it was like the ending was so satisfying, and by toward the end of it, where I'm like, how are they gonna put all of this together? There's no way. And it
Right.
was they did it with like a bow on top. It was
Wow.
highly recommend Dark, but I think that's what it is. Like I finished it and I was like, this is awesome, and I would rewatch this when I need another like German language like booster, right?
Right.
Um, so
That's really cool.
yeah,
And where is it on Netflix?
yeah, Dark is on Netflix.
Okay.
Highly recommend.
How do you feel about the new segue Netflix charging for different households now? So they implemented a new rule now. So now, if you're not in the same household as the Netflix person in your profile, they would charge you. I think it's like $7.99, $8.99, something like that.
What?
Per
I didn't know
person.
this because I'm the only person on my Netflix account.
You are a rare breed. 'Cause I feel like everyone else uses someone else's Netflix at one time or another.
I use somebody else's everything else, like other streaming,
Right.
everything.
Smart man, smart man. Yeah, they just started that. I had to start cashing in on my friends. I'm like, listen, you need to start sending me that 8.99 every month
Eh.
because I ain't paying for this. You're not gonna pay for it. Like it's, but they're cracking it down, which I don't understand that model to be honest, because it's like you're still watching the content. People are still watching your shows. Why doesn't matter if they're in your same household? I
No
just,
commercials, no commercial money. So the views don't. I don't think the
I
views mean as
guess,
much because
yeah,
the only money comes from the monthly
yeah,
the fee.
subscription.
Yeah, yeah. Unless there's some, I'm sure there's some back room like, hey, we want to put our show on Netflix. Okay, cool. That'll be
So
X
and
amount of
so, so
dollars
yeah,
or whatever.
distribution.
But
It's just crazy. I have three profiles, four profiles. So I'm not charging my mom because she gave me life, so she's fine. But I am definitely going to charge my two other friends in the process, who I love and adore. But it's Lloyd and James. But ideally, that's fine. We come to agreement on it. But I just found that interesting, where it's like the years of streaming. It's like you literally have so many options, but now the prices is just going crazy now.
oh, dude, it's becoming cable.
Yes,
And it's
that's
only
very
a matter
true.
of time
It's
before some
very
of these
true.
companies start collaborating and doing packages and like,
And put it all together. Well,
yeah,
Disney does that. Disney, Hulu, and ESPN all in one package.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised. Didn't know
yeah.
that.
Well,
But like
Disney
Hulu with
owns
like
all of
the
them, so yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're totally right. It's going to be the wave of stuff, but it's crazy because they wanted to get you away from cable and watch shows, and now everything's streaming. And it's like, but now you weren't charged just as much for streaming and for either Hulu TV Live or YouTube, whatever the case is. It's like it's just as much as cable if you
Yeah.
really think about it.
Yeah.
So like, are you really saving?
But this they don't care. They just want to make their money.
You're not
They
wrong, my
don't care if
friend.
we're
You are
saving.
not wrong. Okay, so you're not gonna know about this next one. This is a brief intro, only because I was talking to my friend about it. So, Vanderpump wrapped up their season 10 last a couple weeks ago, and now they have a three-part reunion. And I will say on Peacock, speaking of streaming services, the uncensored version is the most amazing shit I've ever seen in TV. Like no bleeping, nothing, just like straight f bombs and everything else. It's just hilarious. So the first two parts of the reunion happen already, and the third part, I believe, is tomorrow. That really deep dives into it. And so, for anyone that doesn't really know about Vanderpump, if you don't, there's every podcast in the world and every TV show in the world that's
I
going to
know
talk about this.
nothing
Okay,
about Vanderpump. So
so
this you can
I know
spoil
I have to
for
like
me.
tell you because you're going to be like
I don't know
I
about
don't.
listeners,
You're
but
like
for
I
me you
don't. You're
can.
like I'm not going to know. So ideally, shortcomings. Ariana and Tom Sandoval dated and were together for 9 years. Now, Raquel was a girl that was on the show before dating another guy named James, who was a DJ on the show. Got engaged, broke up, whatever case is.
Remix.
Yeah. So Ariana and Tom Sandoval, he's in a band, so he's like a local band artist or whatever. And Ariana is best friends, or has become really close friends in the last couple of years with Raquel. So they're kind of like BFFs in a way, very close. So Raquel decides to start sleeping with her best friend's boyfriend, which is Tom Sandoval. And the news broke like back in March, and it was like all over the place. And the shittiest part about it was that as you watch the show being filmed, and then you see all this happen, it's just cringy to watch because Raquel acts so dumb and so stupid. It's like has no idea what's going on, and it's like you clearly are just with Ariana and just being friends with her, even though you're fucking her boyfriend behind her back. Like just, and at the end of it, she's like, I don't know what the outcome would be. I figured something else would happen. Bitch, what did you think would happen? You slept with your best friend's like boyfriend. Like what?
It's like
It's
once,
just,
or is this a
oh
repeated
no,
thing?
it went on for months.
An entanglement.
But Tom has a series of doing this. So he was with Kristen, who was on the show before, and then dated Ariana, and he's cheated before, and so it's just it's just a whole mess. I mean,
Tom, you're a scumbag.
he is, and his best friend knew about it, but then covered up. Oh, here's a very what's the word they use? Polar brother? I don't know, Eskimo brothers. So Tom Schwartz divorced his wife Katie, who was on the show, and made out with Raquel. It was Rachel. God damn it, her name's Rachel. It's Raquel on the show. Made out with her to kind of get the ease off of Tom Sandoval. I'm like, what kind of friendship is that? Where it's just like you now you're just sharing girls. Like what? I I don't I don't get it. So anyway, the third part premieres tomorrow, and it's about to be really epic, and I cannot wait for it. The first two were just like fire and just like the best shit I've seen on TV in so long. When it came to reality TV, I'm not. I was. I don't know what I'm gonna do after this when the new season comes out. And apparently everyone's coming back next season, which I think is gonna be the most weirdest shit in the world. So we'll see how that goes.
Mm.
Guys, make sure you check out, if you have Peacock, the uncensored version of the Vanderpump Reunions Part 3, which will probably air Thursday morning or late at night, but definitely check it out because it's about to be fire. All right. So, enough of that. We're going to move on to our favorite topic, which is all things. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it?
I'm ready. I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready.
Crowd's cheering. Crowd's cheering. Talk about Marvel and DC. There we go. See, they had a horn. I didn't even know we can do that. Isn't that great? But I like your horn a lot better.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to get into, so one of the things that me and you do, which I think is always great, we always take time to go see movies and appreciate movies, love movies.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, superhero movies are the thing we normally do.
Yes.
And one of the things we just recently saw was Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Volume 3. And we normally do a recap about it. But, listeners, I think I'm going to let you into our normal conversations that we usually have as a little sneak peek and a kind of gift to you all. So, ideally, we normally do this when we like watch a show. We give our little reviews after it. But ideally, I want to know what you do. Your three emoji review?
3 emoji review. Yeah.
Your 3 emoji review. Overall, just a little recap of what you thought of Guardians 3. And what are you thinking? And we'll go into this a little more about what are you thinking of what's happening in the MCU and the multiverse saga currently is it's phase 5 now.
I've lost count. I'm not a math person.
It's a lot. But anyway, what were your thoughts on Guardians 3?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fitting end to the trilogy. I thought they did a really great job of making the High Evolutionary quasi-relatable and still very, very, very unlikable, like the villain. It was cool to get so much background into like Rocket's character and kind of like why he's so kind of gruff and like defensive. You know what I mean? Kind of like through the first 2 movies, he's seems to have more trouble being like vulnerable, and it's cool to kind of see into his past and like why. A lot of feelings with this movie. I mean, it's the end of the trilogy, but also, I mean, just exploring the journeys of different characters. I thought was pretty. It pulled on my heartstrings. A lot of the different storylines, and like I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. Go see it. It's a great end to the trilogy. I don't know if I like this one better than the first one. I think it's a better movie than the first one. The first one is just, I think, a little. This one's funny too, but there's like a gravitas. There's like a weight to this one. Yeah. It feels like a closer, like an ending movie, and I think that they did that really well. I had a moment toward the end where there were a few tears. I'm not gonna lie, there were a few tears. I really dug it. I really dug it. And I would see it again.
Yeah. I'd agree with you. I had an issue. I think we both agree with this. Volume 2 did not deliver the way that it came off after seeing Volume 1. And I 100%. Think James Gunn did a great job. Shout out James Gunn. Of really wrapping up this story and this arc and these characters. And even though, people who may not have watched the whole MCU, which obviously, the Guardians were in Infinity Wars and Endgame and, some other Christmas special.
Christmas special.
This Christmas special. They did a good job of really like tying that together and then talking about those friendships and talking about that growth. I mean, for me, Gamora's death, I would never get over that death. It's like one of the worst deaths ever. I mean, yes, Black Widow dying was sad. I get it, but I just love Gamora. So ideally, even with that, it was like even how they wove her story into it, and just this alternate version of Gamora's in the movie. It's just kind of like, and even just seeing Peter's heartbreak throughout that. Losing someone you love, but then you get another version of this person that you used to love, but this person doesn't know you
at all.
Doesn't know anything about your history, about what you guys been through, about like nothing. And you have to realize there's time that passed between all these films that like they were building this relationship that we were not seeing as the audience. So Yeah, I definitely get you with that part. I love the Mantis story. I love that they did
Hmm.
more with Mantis because she's
Yes.
such a great character in the comic books, and like I love that they did that. I love what they did with Nebula too. I felt like
Yeah, Nebula as a character that got way cooler over the course of the three
one
movies.
hundred percent. Yeah.
Um, Drax has some really clutch moments in
Oh,
this
he
one
was
too.
good. He was good. I mean, like I said, they were all great characters. Now, I will say, an unpopular opinion, I think Adam Warlock was not used to the capacity that he should have been used to, in
I
my opinion. Because here's my theory.
Go ahead.
I get in the comics, and any comic fan who knows this, like obviously Adam Warlock had the Infinity Gauntlet, stop Thanos, all this other bullshit. We all know that.
Yeah,
That did not.
he was such a way bigger player in the
Mhm.
comic
In the
books
Infinity
than he
War,
is in the
right?
movies. Yeah,
So, and ideally, we're not going to repeat that because obviously it was Thanos and Iron Man in that story arc, whatever the case
right,
is, and
right,
the
right.
MCU.
The whole yeah,
I just was like, I get this point. I have this with my other friend. I go, we have these powerful characters. I think of Adam Warlock, I think of Jean Grey, and I think of Scarlet Witch, the very most powerful of mutants or any level of characters, and they're not utilized at full to the complete capacity, or they're underutilized to the point of like they're either a martyr or they die, and you're like, in reality they don't die, they just come back again.
I mean it's comic books.
In general, but I'm saying like not with powerful characters. I don't get that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like you're just underutilizing in a certain way. So I think Adam was funny. I will say,
Yes.
the actor was what's his name? Will Will Porter. Will Porter. He was good, and I think it just was. I don't know. I just wanted more from him, and
It was an interesting again. It's like an
yeah,
interesting take on Adam Warlock, right? It's always interesting to me when they do that in movies. They take such a huge departure
yeah,
from
yeah,
like the source material in terms of who the character is,
yeah,
what is their why, like even like his power sets and stuff
yeah.
were different. So I feel like they really like remixed him and kind of reinvented him for the MCU.
I do.
So
Yeah,
it was
I
interesting
agree.
to just kind of see that,
I mean, I was glad he was in it. I just me being a comic book nerd, I was like, okay, this is an interesting take. But overall, I do have to agree with you. I think my three emojis of it was I don't know what I sent you. I think it was like it was definitely a tear. It was definitely very like action sequences were amazing.
the action was really good.
And
A lot of splatters.
yeah, and just overall like closure and level of new levels of Guardians that happened. So overall, I thought it was a great film. It's really good.
Oh wait, here we go. I found the three
Oh,
emojis.
you found it.
Okay. Yours were claps,
Yeah.
the like tears streaming down the face emoji,
Mm-hmm.
and then the mechanical like strong arm.
Yes, because I felt it was such a strong character arc for all of them.
Yeah, mine was the music notes. The
Music's
soundtrack
great.
is crazy. The
Oh,
soundtrack
amazing.
is sick.
Amazing. Yep. Yep.
And then the like eyes welling up with tears, but not crying yet, but just
Mm-hmm.
no. And then my last emoji was like the smile with the one tear coming down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way it's like an end of a chapter and an end of an era, and you're just kind of like, it's satisfying, as you said.
Yeah.
Talk about this. It
I,
wasn't. It wasn't that you left like, okay. Well, it's like, okay, this is what it is, and I like that.
I thought it was, yeah, the ending satisfied me at least.
Yeah.
I can't speak for the world at large.
I have to agree. I liked it. I mean, in the MCU, nothing's ever final, so I have no idea what's going to happen.
I mean, comic books, nothing's final either, unless you're Uncle Ben. And even then, there was a hot second where they brought him back in that day.
We just went dark with that one. Like, Uncle Ben just never came back. It's just, yeah, you're not
I mean,
wrong
they said
about
the
that.
same thing about Jason Todd for a long time, and then
And we know why we killed him off. He was a shithead, but love him better as a redhead. So, I think the MCU. Just to wrap it up, I think we're currently in Phase 5. So I learned that we're in Phase 5. Ant-Man and the Wasp was the first of Phase 5, and obviously we have Guardians, and so I think the next is the Marvels, just Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, and Kamala, who's going to be the other Ms. Marvel. So I think it's fine. I don't know where they're really going with it. I know Kang's a big guy, but I don't think they've done enough to really set up what they did with the Infinity Saga as much.
yeah,
So I'm gonna hold hopes and just say it'll be good.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because we have this whole Kang kind of angle, but then we also have Secret Invasion. So then there's like,
Yeah.
it'll be really interesting to see what kind of plot armor they write into. Like because like right with the multiverse, you essentially have infinite outs. You can
Oh, it's
undo
so
or
confusing. I
redo
know.
or tweak, And so I'm curious because it does seem like they're moving in a bunch of different directions.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I agree. I don't know, but we're here for the ride, so we'll watch it
we will
regardless
watch it
and
and
review
talk
it and
talk shit
talk about it
anyway.
anyway. Should be great, so it's fine. So that is the wrap up on Marvel. But speaking of multiverses, um, the Flash is coming out June 16th, which deals with the whole their version of multiverse
Yeah.
and Flash going back in time and doing shit he shouldn't have been doing and
Barry,
whatnot.
don't mess with the timeline.
So it stars Ezra Miller.
Uh,
I know from
uh,
the Justice League and other movies. So, how do you feel about this one? I mean, now that James Gunn, who is now CEO of DC Studios and has a whole new regime of movies he's doing and re-imaging, how do
yeah.
you feel this is going to go? And this was before him. The others are with him, but this one's before him. But how do you
Right,
feel
but he
about
still
it?
had to okay it to come out.
That's true.
So
It's true.
my
It's true.
thought is that it must be really, really, really good to not be shelved over how much of a trash bag human Ezra Miller is. No, he's like I feel like Ezra Miller is like the reverse Flash instead of the actual
Oh,
Flash. Oh my
he
god!
does act like him. That's
Like
very true. Yeah.
grooming kids. I'm like I don't like dude. Like I just
He's a PR nightmare. I'm sure he's a
uh,
lovely person, but from a PR standpoint, he is a
I,
disaster.
I don't think he's a lovely person.
Okay, he
I
might be an
don't
asshole. I don't know him.
I
I
don't
don't
I
know.
don't know, dude. Like, but that said, for him to be so awful and this movie still be released, like again, like we just said with Marvel, like this is DC's. We can plot our way in or out of anything. So I'm hoping that they use this as a way to open up the multiverse and then ditch Ezra Miller. Yo,
Yeah.
put Grant Gustin in there. Grant Gustin was awesome on the
Will he
CW.
want to do it though?
Just the
He's already done it.
I
Like,
don't know, but I feel like he was held down by the writing on the CW, but he was
oh,
an
shoot.
amazing Flash.
He was. It was a good
Like
show. I only watched a couple seasons, but it was actually really good.
so I mean, we're gonna watch it.
And
We're gonna
regardless,
watch
yeah.
it. I have again just with how much of a slag Ezra Miller is. I'm I'm I feel like this movie must be really good. And again, it's they're out for everything else moving
Yeah,
forward.
it is. Yeah.
So I think that there's a degree of that happening. I'm very, very curious. I'm excited for Michael Keaton.
To come back as Batman.
Yeah,
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 that's pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. But he's like Batman from Earth 2, and I don't know if they'll call it Earth 2 in the movie, but he's the
Yes.
Batman that is Thomas Wayne. So at least in the comics, I don't know if
The
I don't know
version, yes, where
how
he,
tight they'll
yeah,
do it on the movie, but like in the comics, Barry goes back in time,
yep,
resets the timeline, a bunch of fuckery happens, and in
right.
that universe, Bruce Wayne dies instead of his parents, and then so Thomas Wayne, his dad, becomes
I do
Batman,
remember that.
and so he's
Yeah.
like a very like a different style Batman than the Batman we're familiar with. It's a different universe, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, Michael Keaton in the original Batman movies was really awesome, and I'm excited for them to get him back in there, and I hope that they have a suit where his head can turn now.
God, I can remember that. Like the old versions of like these movies. I still remember the costumes from Batman and Robin with the nipples. I was like,
Bat
who
nips.
signed off on that? Like they were just like, yep, this is fine.
You know what the suit needs? Nips.
Nips. I was like, wow. Yeah, and I like the fact that they have Ben Affleck, who's still playing Batman from the current universe. So I guess he's not done, even though we have the Batman, who is Robert Pattinson. I'm so confused. It'll be an interesting movie. I think for sure it'll be great. So I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out and us having our 3-star emoji review on that one.
Hey.
I'm gonna need your help with this one with Blue Beetle because I know a little bit about Blue Beetle, but I think you know a little more than me. And Blue Beetle, there were different versions of Blue
Yeah.
Beetle, but
Yeah.
this is the
Yeah.
one with Jaime,
Right.
who's a current one. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I believe he's the only Blue Beetle right now.
Okay.
Because he's the third, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
What
I
was
think so.
Ted Cord was I think he was the second Blue Beetle.
He might have
Like,
been the second one.
I'm blanking. I'm blanking.
Where it's so much things you have to remember, and you're just like, how do I remember every single aspect?
But each Blue Beetle has a different has a different.
Persona on it, right?
Well, it's like how they got their powers,
Okay.
or I think one Blue Beetle doesn't even have powers.
It was Dan Garrett, Ted
Yes,
Kord, and Jaime Reyes.
there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
So those are the main ones. Okay.
But I'm trying to remember, like Ted Cord. I think it was more that he was just really smart, and so he had this Blue Beetle persona.
Yep, you're right. He was a gifted inventor and a gifted athlete. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what his powers were. I want to say that he could shrink size, but that's the Atom.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was interesting. I mean, I'm looking forward to this version because even the trailer just looked amazing, and
it does look sick. And I forget the actor's name, but he was in he's in Cobra Kai.
That's right.
He's so good in Cobra Kai. So I'm glad he's getting some shine.
Yeah, he's pretty young too. I mean, to take on these franchises at such a young age. His name is Zolo Mandu. I'm going to pronounce that wrong. You probably know a lot more than me.
I have never seen his name before.
You've never seen his name?
I've never, no. But like, shout out to him. Was it Zolo Maridueña?
That's going to be my best case. But I mean, good for him. I mean, he's only 21. So
yeah,
cool.
He's sick. He's sick.
Yeah.
But like this Blue Beetle, I think Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle is the one I'm most familiar with. So like, right, there's this scarab artifact.
Yep.
And I forget how he finds it, but he ends up getting into contact with it. Oh, it's cool. And then it like bonds to him. It binds itself to him. And
crazy.
So it's this alien thing, and all of a sudden he's got this suit that is super, 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 super powerful. Like basically, it's a weapon, and it comes from like this alien like race, and it's supposed to be like a thing to help this particular alien race like take over like whatever planet. And so like the beetle is supposed to take over its host, and like fulfill this otherworldly agenda. And for reasons, we'll see what they do in the movie. I want to say in the comics it would like malfunction, something about how it landed on Earth, or like Ted Kord had it and messed with it, and somehow it like malfunctioned or something. And so like Jaime has like a degree of control within it, but also like the beetle is like its own kind of mind and has its own kind of like the scarab has its own thing. So he can fly, he can turn his arms into like blades and cannons, and like he's a low key like super super powerful superhero, and I'm glad he's getting some shine. And also like shout out to like Latino roles and having 100%. Latino heroes.
Yes. We definitely need that. Obviously we have it. I wish it was a live action Miles Morales, but obviously we have the the animated version.
Right, Miles Morales. Yeah. I mean, in the last Doctor Strange, America Chavez.
Yeah, it's true. They are getting better, which is really good to see that.
That's cool. Yeah. So, like, we're getting there. But it's nice to have a Latin lead with a Latin character.
Yeah.
I think is really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that one.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to come out August 18th. So we got 2 nice summer ones that are coming from DC, which is pretty good. The TV shows, I don't know much about those, so they haven't really, James going to talk too much about it, but I know there's supposed to be a show about the Penguin from the Batman movie. So Colin Farrell, who played him, didn't even know that was Colin Farrell.
I didn't until the movie was over.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, you were like, Colin Farrell's so good. And I was like, where was Colin Farrell?
Like, who was he? Yeah. Yeah, so that was supposed to be start production.
Am I the only one who knows the difference between L and La?
Best line ever. So his show started production, I think, earlier this year, so I'm not sure if that's going to be released later on. It was HBO Max, but now it's Max. So, and then I think Amanda Waller is supposed to have a show, which is with,
that could be interesting.
Viola Davis. So, not sure when that comes. So,
love to hate her.
She's amazing, man. She's like the bad Nick Fury.
Yeah,
but you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, I mean, you also don't want to mess with Nick.
I wouldn't mess with her either, but
I do
I'd be
think
more
she
scared of
goes.
Amanda Waller.
I think I would be too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I would be scared of both of them, but I feel like she's on a whole different level. And then, of course, we have the last one we have is Aquaman. I the first one was fine. I love Jason Momoa, so I have nothing bad to say about him. I think it would be good, but the whole Amber Heard thing is just going to be very interesting to me how they had to edit that movie out.
Well,
So
that's how I'm just like
I don't know
God.
how they even did that. I
They
get
let
it,
Amber
but
Heard go. I mean, like whatever about Amber Heard, but like, oh nope, you're done. And then you got Ezra
I,
Miller.
no, it was a PR mess, and I just don't understand it. So I'm gonna give it hopes and say it's gonna be good. I don't know much about it. I'm gonna go in just being like, okay, it's Aquaman too. And
I mean, we're
listen,
gonna.
I like looking at Jason Momoa, so I'm not gonna complain either way. So it's fine for me.
I mean, I'm a to a degree a completist, so like I'm gonna watch it. I don't
I'm
know
gonna
if I'll
watch it. I don't
enjoy
know how you're
it.
gonna feel about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I think half the joy becomes like not just watching the movie, but just getting to talk about it afterward. I think
I agree. I
is
agree.
part of like
Yeah.
the whole experience. So like even if the movie isn't great, like Dawn of Justice, right? Batman versus Superman. The
Mm,
movie was garbage, and
garbage.
I loved because it was so garbage. I had so many amazing conversations about this movie. Like, oh my god, it was basically toilet paper the way we shit all over it. It was amazing.
I mean, it's just as bad when we talked about when me and you were talking about Justice League when they did the Zack Snyder cut, and I was like, this should have just been 4 episodes. Why is this a 4 hour movie?
Yeah,
Like that
yeah.
was 4 hours.
Although I do think the Snyder cut was better than
It
what
was
was released
better,
in
but I was like, I don't
theaters.
think I needed 4 hours of it.
No.
Like that was pretty long.
Yeah.
Like you should just have 4 1 hour episodes. But that's neither here nor there. Interesting. Well, that is our recap on all things Marvel and DC. But check back with this because we'll definitely have some more that are coming this year. And I'm actually looking forward to Secret Invasions. I love the scrolls, and I hope Marvel does a good job with it. But it's Samuel Jackson, Nick Fury, so it should be
I
amazing.
love Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
I love Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, I think it'll be cool. It's interesting how they like did the whole Krull Kree thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Kree's kind of been like disavowed, like Agents of Shield never happened.
Yeah.
Which, okay, all right, fine. Agents of Shield is pretty cool. So it'll be interesting to see how they paint the whole Skrull thing because in the comics, so much of the Skrull's motivation is the war with the
Yeah.
Kree. It's
Yeah.
this rival alien race.
100%.
So I don't know. This sounds like maybe it's like certain factions within the Skrulls. Like certain Skrulls are like we're cool, and other Skrulls are like
I think so. I think that's what it is. Yeah, and obviously, it'd be great to be with Loki and figure out what's happening with that. It's been delayed so much, so I don't know where they're gonna go with this because
don't fuck it up, Marvel.
I don't think they will, but we shall see. But you can give me more Tom Hiddleston anytime, so I'm fine with that. So anyway, we're gonna get into topics about UBS, and go ahead and just give us a quick summary about yourself and a little bit about who you are.
Word. I'm BS, the only BS you can trust. I am a freestyle rapper, songwriter, recording artist, educator, creator. If it has to do with words, I do it. I am the founder and creator of Freestyle Fitness NYC, a freestyle rap initiative that espouses life and language tools through the medium of freestyle rap. It's become a really dope community initiative, virtual, in person. I got people in the UK, in Berlin, on the West Coast, down south, Midwest, all over, and we do in-person programming here in New York City. I also work with Freestyle Plus and Freestyle Love Supreme. That's been super, super dope. Shout out to the homies in Freestyle Plus and FLS. And I've been I've been rapping, and I'm a beatboxer too. I've been rapping and beatboxing for 15 plus years. I don't know,
15.
plus.
It's
Because
crazy. We know each
we've
other
been
what,
friends
10
longer.
years?
No,
12 years.
no.
Well, I always keep saying 10 years. I think we know each other a lot longer.
It's longer. No, it's longer than 10.
Yeah.
It's closer to 15. We met in
2005.
2006.
Oh yeah, I
It
think you're
was
right.
2006. It was for me, it was my first semester of sophomore year.
Okay. Yep, that sounds
Yeah,
right.
yeah, 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 yeah. And so yeah, I'm really big on education. I believe in freestyle rap and play. Um, these are ways that we keep our brains sharp.
Yeah.
Like freestyle fitness is modeled like as a workout for your brain. So like you don't need to want to be a rapper to participate. You could totally be like, I'm going to be a rapper, and that's what I'm going to do with my life, and come and play and have an amazing time. I've got all kinds of different, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people who come in and get vulnerable and share and get creative and try new things.
Yeah.
And um, yeah, my shout out to my friend participants. We actually had the first like freestyle fitness like performance showcase what we were talking about earlier, Memorial Day weekend. So I'm really really proud of my peeps. Like I said, some of
Yeah.
them had never performed before, and they'd only like rapped in like the community, you know, in our
Right.
freestyle fitness community. So to have that moment to like showcase themselves and this cool little thing, this little village that we've built, you know, is really really exciting. So um, yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Like I've been doing this word working thing for a while. I started street performing, rhyming on the streets
Hmm.
and in the parks. Um, I used to battle rap a lot. I used to like Freestyle Monday. Shout out to Corey James Gray, Ill Spoken. Um, Freestyle Mondays is like concept battles. Like there'd be topics and a wheel, and you know you had to improvise. You had to freestyle everything. So that was really cool. And part of my journey, I released a few songs through Tommy Boy Records, which was really really cool.
Nice.
Um, lately, been able to travel around more, do more of what I do in different places
Hmm.
across the East Coast,
Right.
Las Vegas, California.
Yeah, because you
Um,
were doing some traveling for a while. Like, yeah, yeah.
Berlin, yeah. Um, so that's been super dope. Um, I've been, oh man, there's so much. There's so
Dude,
much.
like I can go
There's
on
so
all day
much.
about
There's
this.
so
I
much.
think it's great. I mean, I guess, we talk about like a little bit about rapping and what it means to you and as you're expressing to us. How do you feel about, the community when it comes to rap, historically or just what we all know is like rap has been like black people and obviously, you're half white and, from a Latino community and background. So how has that been for you, come stepping into the space and even nowadays and having people from different backgrounds and cultures, take on this mantle of rap and
Mhm.
take it to a whole different level. Like, how have you felt like you were part of that change, or like, have you been able to like understand that more about yourself when it comes to rap, or even just expand more on what that negativity that comes with, like, oh, rap is just fuck your bitches, this and that, where it's like it's more than that.
Yeah, well, hip hop is a culture, you know,
Yeah.
and rap is a part of hip hop culture.
Mm.
You know, we've got rap, the emceeing,
Yep.
DJing, graffiti writing, breaking, the dancers, the knowledge, and I'd throw beatboxing in there too.
Nice.
Um,
Love your beatboxing. It's really
thank you, thank you. Yeah, I like sounds. Sometimes sounds express feelings better than words do. So
true. True.
for me, like I started rapping like by accident. Like I didn't mean to be like put myself on this path. Like we kind of found each other. At one
Oh
point
wow.
when I was young, I just get really upset and I grab a notebook and I would just start writing and it would just happen to come out of rhyme. So that's kind of
Nice.
how like I slowly got into it. And then I met my homie Gray Matter. Shout out to Gray. And I realized there was this whole community at the time, this whole community of people where it's like, oh, I don't need to be like angry or like battle and like have
Hmm.
this space. Like battling is amazing, and it's really fun to have this consensual space to release a lot of energy, you
Sure.
know. But it was like, oh, we can play games, we can be witty, we can be clever, like we can be charming. Like there's so much more. There's so many more emotions to express through this craft,
Yeah.
and I mean, for me, like as if most people, you look at me like you can't tell that I'm half Cuban, you know.
You
Hablo
don't. I mean, unless you
yeah,
say it and you start
yeah,
speaking Spanish, I'm
yeah,
like,
right,
what?
right,
What?
right, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Hablo español. Like,
yeah,
growing up, it was English with dad, Spanish with mom,
yeah.
and Yeah, I'm a first generation, like, Cuban. Like my mom, or was it second generation first? No, because my mom came here, so I'm the first generation, like after like the
After her,
arrival.
yeah.
Um,
That's amazing, yeah.
so it's interesting because again, like you said, until I start speaking Spanish, then like, and then the code switch tends to make people's heads like whiplash.
Mm,
But it's interesting because when I started rhyming, like being not visibly like not melanated like that
right.
was not an advantage.
Interesting. Yeah.
It like I wasn't like ragged on for not being black or for not being like very visibly Latino,
Mhm.
um, and it didn't really help me there. Like I really had to like hold my space and cut my teeth and uh, really stand my ground,
Yeah.
in a space.
Did you
And
feel like you were trying to be put into a box, or you're just kind of like going in and just either humbling yourself, or just be like, let me just grasp this knowledge of something that I'm kind of passionate about and love, but then like
uh,
not feel like you're assimilated either, but just kind of having your own
well,
lane,
I think
one of the
for me
two.
it was just a vehicle toward like greater self-awareness and like finding myself. Like
Yeah.
when I was in spaces that I feel like I wasn't being like understood or like accepted for who and what I am, like hip hop let me be myself.
Nice.
This hip hop New York City hip hop community like really allowed me to just like fully be me. And whichever version of me woke up in my meat suit that day, like this was
Right.
like a space where like that was all right. And I feel like a lot of folks, because I was a later blooming creative, I think a lot of folks like just didn't see me that way, and so that there was a degree of like having to kind of overcome this like kind of social pressure and like,
Mm.
oh, what are you doing? You know what I mean? That's like, oh, that's so
Like, get out of
silly.
here. Like, what are you doing?
Like,
Like,
what do
yeah.
um, and like this community let me fully be myself and learn with and from them. And for me, this is like a joy thing. I think this is rap is like how I connect with. It's one of the main ways that I connect with people and the world, not just something that I
Mm-hmm.
do. And it's just like any other kind of art, right? You have these more mainstream versions and these certain archetypes that get filled, and then you have these other versions that are just like expressions of the individual and any individual's
Yep.
like life and perspective.
Of course.
So I think that right now, at least as far as hip hop and rap within hip hop goes, there's so much variety and so many
So
different
much. Yeah.
styles and subject matters. And like you got people who just rap about anime. You got people who rap about video games.
Yeah.
You got, of course, the stereotype like money, 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 drugs, whatever,
Right.
violence
Right.
and all misogyny, whatever. Yeah, that exists. And then you have all sorts of like very poetic like styles and very like I don't know. I always loved language bending. That's part of
Yeah.
like BS. That's when I used to battle a lot. People would be BS like bullshit, and then I'd just be ready. Like
Yeah.
my basic strategy is just to alter somebody's blood sugar from backstage. Just bang, 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 bang. It's two letters, and so it's something liquid and fluid that could grow with me.
All right.
So it was. I feel like that my experience within the culture is like also that like it has allowed me to be fluid and grow and expand and evolve within it.
All right.
um, and it's a really really important thing to me, and I think that every human benefits from it. That's why it's like I call it freestyle fitness. It's a workout for your brain. Like you're training yourself to think fast and highlight certain information.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many life situations where having a quick answer will help you immensely.
Oh
You
man, tell me
know,
about it. Yeah.
like it.
Like think on your toes. Be like,
Mm-hmm,
okay, what? Oh, all right.
mm-hmm.
Split second decisions.
Gaining self confidence, like
Yeah.
having opposing ideas and literally putting them in rhythm with one another, like open communication, active listening. I mean,
Absolutely.
vocabulary expansion. I think that it's really important to engage in these things, especially now where like it's a space where you can think critically out loud and you can speak your ideas in a circle of people and have it be received.
And
And
also reach a greater audience that you probably didn't think you would be able to reach, before.
yeah, well,
I
I
love
didn't
that.
I didn't start rapping to like be a rapper.
I
It
know.
called to me. It made me feel good. It made me feel like I could express and like I could be heard and acknowledged and accepted, even if I had to, claw my way to those places. You
Right.
know, sometimes like I've made so many lifelong friends through this journey, and thanks to this culture, that I'm grateful to it. I'm grateful to it, and I want to be able to share that fun, that
Hmm.
playfulness, games with people in a way that helps them and reminds them that they're already enough as they are, and that, you know what I'm saying, like you are enough. You is enough. And like the most badass like hip hop thing you could do is rap and just be yourself and be true to your perspective and
Right.
your own journey.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, I feel like I was given a lot of that grace and that space, and it's something that's really important to me to carry on and push forward and help other people cultivate that for themselves. Again, like whether you want to be like I'm a rapper and identify as that,
Hmm.
or here's just this fun thing I do with some friends, you know.
Yeah, you got to find that balance. And then, do you ever, do you ever get people come up to you and be like, BS, just listen to your rap has helped me kind of, I know you do it for your students and for everyone else you do freestyle fitness, but like, have you had people come up to you and like, how does that make you feel? Like, I've heard you, and it's like, BS, that's touched me in a certain way. Has helped me find my inner self, my inner confidence. I mean, how does that make you feel knowing that if something that you didn't think was going to be for something simple you were doing, but now it's like you're touching people's lives in one way or another? Like, that impact, like how does that make you feel knowing that these small things and these big brand things you're doing are making a difference?
I mean, it makes me feel like I'm fulfilling my life's purpose, you know, my reason for being here. Like I just want I want people to smile. I
Yeah.
want them to remember that being themselves is okay. And I want to empower creators to keep creating after we
Yes.
interact, even if we never interact ever again. Like I that's my hope. And to be able to help people in a way where this culture and other people within it help me too
Hmm.
is, you know, I think that a lot of us in life, like as grown people, are trying to be the grown people that we needed as individuals when we were
Oh man.
younger. And so to
Yes.
be able to fill that role for some people, and especially within the community, and hold space for it.
Yeah.
And I've got a new song coming out uh, probably later this year called Four Things You Feel. And
Oh,
worked into the
nice.
chorus is this grounding countdown, you know, which really helped me a lot during the pandemic, and like some just navigating certain mental health issues, you know, depression, ADHD, like the combination of those things.
Hmm.
You know, five things you see, four things you feel, like tactile, like
Right.
not like feelings, but like you know, I feel the shirt on my shoulders, right? Like
Okay.
you feel.
Right.
Three things you hear, two things that you either smell or taste, and
Hmm.
then you say like one nice thing to yourself.
Oh, I love that.
And that's been like a really powerful thing. But I haven't released the song yet, but I've started performing it. And this one has had people come up to me, and either they recognize the grounding countdown and appreciate that it's being shared.
Right.
Sometimes like I had someone reach out to me like, hey, thank you for this. Like I posted like a reel of like a piece of one of the performances, and they reached out to me and were like, hey, thank you so much for this. Like this is a reminder to just kind of slow down and take a deep breath. And
Yeah.
I get depressed sometimes, and this is going to help me remember to kind of like find my center and breathe when I feel like
Wow.
that. And that was a huge, just that really blew me away.
That's amazing.
um yeah
That's really
uh,
great. I mean, I'm glad you're making, an impact. I mean, I've always seen it in you, whenever you do and perform and
Thanks, bro. Yeah,
whatnot.
you've always
Yeah.
supported my endeavors, even when a lot of people around us were like, "Meh, meh, meh," you know.
All the
So
haters out
not
there.
even haters. It's just they didn't see the vision, and um, I don't think that they were invested at that same in that same way in me as like a friend to be
Sure.
like, all right, bro, like I don't get it, and like go, like I'm sending you this positive energy so that you
Yeah.
can do what you feel and what you see, even though I don't see it yet. And I can't speak for you whether you saw it or not. I didn't see a lot of this journey coming the way that it did, but
Yeah.
you've always, and I really appreciate that, you've always had my back with this kind of thing. And like you know, I feel like you never were like, that's amazing if it wasn't, and you still found a way to be like, keep going, keep
I mean,
going,
I think that's what
keep
makes you
going.
better. It's like constructive criticism. I mean, we both do that for each other, but it comes to, me doing my projects with cases, I mean, I've always seen the fact that you were an artist, and I think you were always struggling with the idea of like, we had this whole thing like we were growing up in corporate America. And we have to have these structured jobs. You go in 9 to 5 and do whatever. Obviously, COVID's changed that. Now we have hybrid and remote and all this other stuff. But ideally, corporate America is not for everybody.
Right.
And I think, yeah, you go to school, you get these degrees and do great stuff, but it just might be what you want to do. And I know that was hard for you back then going through that. And I felt like I like, at least for my friends, if there's something they love doing or something they're passionate about, I'm all in for it. I'm always going to support any way of acting or any way of artistry that's out there because it also just enlightens you as well too.
Yeah.
The most important thing you can do as a human being is to grow and learn as much as possible, and always keeping your mind open to understanding that. Is when you become closed-minded and you don't allow yourself to understand certain avenues or certain things that are scary or different for you, that you stop being a pivotal point of a person in society. No, that could be my opinion on what the case is, but I just think you got to keep pushing yourself. And what I love about what you do is that, you just mentioned before, it's like, it's a certain sense of passion when you're up there and you're doing it. You can always see that. And it's nothing fake. It's nothing unoriginal. It's authentic. It's the true you. And it's a struggle. It's
Thanks,
hard.
bro.
It's not easy. No one's ever going to say it's easy, but nothing ever worth having in life is easy. So it's
Amen.
that is life, but I think the struggles you keep going through and how you keep pushing yourself to do those things is really key and important. So, but as your best friend, that's just what I'm always going to do that for you no matter what.
Thanks, brother.
I want to learn a little bit about your blading camp because I love the fact that you do, you have rap and you have everything else you do, but you just, like I said, you do still rollerblade. So tell me
Yeah.
how that kind of incorporates and helps you through your everyday motivation and your artistry and how that keeps you moving forward.
Yeah, well, rollerblading was like the first thing I ever fell in love with. Like it was the first thing to save my life. Hip hop was
Saved
probably
your
the
life.
second.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah. I was a really angry kid. Like there was a lot happening, and this was like a way for me. Like I never. It was a long. Well, now it's like half my life ago, but there was a long period of life where I never saw myself as a creative or an artist or even artistically inclined.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like rules,
Right.
and I didn't understand. And I think it's also the way it was taught and presented, like art class, music class, where it was like you can do whatever you want. You need to do exactly this like this right now. And I was just
You're like, wait,
like don't piss on my
what?
leg and tell me it's raining, bro. Like no, thank
No,
you.
right?
I don't.
No.
So blading found well. So one of my cousins got me into it, and this was when it was a much younger, early 2000s, like late 90s, early 2000s, and like a skate park opened up in the town that I lived in Pennsylvania at the time, and that just became my sanctuary. That was my that place actually felt like home when my home
Wow.
didn't feel like home,
Yeah.
and there was just a lot happening, and I felt safer at the skate park than I did at home. Even though I'm like hurting myself, like I'm falling and like,
Jeez,
but it was the
yeah.
kind of thing where even through being so angry and all of these other things, like it just made me feel like alive and reminded me that I wanted to keep feeling that way. So it's been a very, very important part for me. In my like early 20s, I hurt my knee, so I thought I was done for a while. So I didn't skate for a number of years, and then came back to it later. Actually, it's funny how it all kind of ties together. Like the whole, I think I started really focusing on rap and hip hop, like beatboxing and this sort of artistic expression was like after I thought I couldn't blade anymore,
Wow.
and I needed something to fill that hole.
Right.
And uh, as much as like hip hop and rap and beatbox and freestyle like are my life,
Mm-hmm.
it never completely filled the space that not having blading in my, or that blading created in my life, and that what it filled.
Right.
It filled a lot of it, like a lot of it, enough to make it my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right.
uh, so now kind of having that back, also being a little bit older and having to like redefine my relationship with blading. Like when I was young, I'd get mad and I'd like put my skates on and jump off a roof. You know what I mean? Like,
Jesus.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
daredevil over here.
yeah. I so that was a piece of it, So now it's like in a more like adult way, and also like like my body can't take that same impact
Yeah.
anymore. Like it doesn't
I mean, I
recover
would hope not at age
as
60 you're still trying to jump off buildings.
no. The jump off a building days are long over.
Okay, good.
But it's I think hip hop saved my life after that, and was like the second like thing that I fell in love with.
Nice.
But I fell in love with blading before before first love with the girl. You know what I mean? Like this
Yeah,
was
it's your
such
thing.
a it's the first way that I self identified. Like, oh no, I'm a skater. Like
Yeah,
that's who, and that's what I do. That's who I am. Like
so
this is the
cool.
culture that I'm a part of. And honestly, it's funny because it introduced me to a lot of hip hop culture. Like at the time, you had
Oh,
like VHSs and DVDs of skate videos,
no, we
and
just aged ourselves right now.
everything was so regional, right? So like
Oh yeah,
the skaters from the
yeah,
Midwest would have songs from Midwest rappers. From Cali, they'd have Cali
yeah.
rappers. New York, so I was exposed to all of these different styles through the culture of like skating culture,
Right.
and like working at a skate park. So even like I don't really skateboard, like it's cool. It's just not my bag. But like again, having these videos on, and
Yeah.
one of for the time, one of my managers at the skate park was like an MC, and he would like freestyle from time to time, and like so it was kind of just being exposed to that in a way
Wow.
where it was like, what is this? Like this is so dope, and it was more than just what was on the radio at the time, or
Yeah.
just having these extra dimensions to it. So like blading has been a thread through all of this. So
That's
I
so
mean,
cool.
yeah, now it's also been a good reminder that like like, right, some people could be like, oh, you do this and you fall and you get hurt, that's bad, right? You don't want to get hurt, that's bad.
Of
And
course.
just being like, well, it's my relationship with it, right? The thing itself is not good or bad.
Mm,
It's what is my relationship to it? What is my
right.
relationship with it? And having the opportunity to come back to it and redefine that. So like the way I skate now is not the way that I skated in my teens, 20s. Like
It's a
just
different
what I
way.
prioritize
Right.
is different. Like it's longevity now. Like I want to do this for as long as I absolutely possibly can. I feel so. It's one of my absolute top happy places. Just being
Amazing.
able to redefine architecture that certain like 90+% of the population looks at a particular way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's that ledge, that's a bench. Or that handrail is there for me to put my hand on as I walk down the stairs. And I'm like, what can I do on this? How can I jump on this and do something?
Make
Like
sense. Yeah.
how can I? So it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, I have been creative for so much longer than I thought I had
It's
initially.
just a different way
And
of it. Yeah.
through my physical movement,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I find that when I can skate, and injuries are a thing, it comes with the territory, but like on when my body's good and I can skate a few times a week, it is so much easier for me to be what my brain and my heart see as my best self.
Mm,
Like whether it's those moments where I am skating or the moments in between each skate session. So it's been really important to me to have a physical creative outlet as well as a mental one, because I think one of the
yeah.
beautiful things about rap is your imagination is the only limitation. Like it's one of the few art
True.
forms that you can be the
True.
best at just by saying that you're the best at it, by how you say that you're the best at it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you can speak that into existence through that craft. And so it's just been nice to have this physical expression, this physical modality to kind of uh, jump in and out. And I had a real transformative experience. Like you mentioned blading camp
Yeah.
in Malaga, Spain. Yo, shout out to Josh, Wani, Ale, Jam, Mary, Joe, Miguel, Bomba. Like the whole blading camp team is incredible. Nils, Montre. It was a truly transformative experience, and I felt some of the same just community energy that I do in like a hip hop cipher,
Hmm.
and that I did there at like skate parks, and the way people just cheer for each other, support each other. The skill level is not the emphasis. The skill level, I mean, sure, we all want to get better at the things that we
Yeah.
do,
Of course.
absolutely, and there are people there who are willing to teach you and show you, and but just the way that like everyone is supportive of everyone trying whatever they're doing, no matter where on the skill spectrum it falls. Like um, blading camp is a really important thing to me, and I might be able. I don't know. We'll see. We're talking about maybe doing some maybe like a freestyle fitness workshop or a BS performance at blading
Ooh,
camp
okay. All
fall
right.
fling this year. So like, listen. If you down to put wheels on your feet, I cannot recommend blading camp enough. I first went during a pretty like difficult. period in my life, and it helped me find myself and my center again, and remind myself like who and what I am.
Hmm.
um, and made some lifelong friends from all over the world.
Nice.
I met my girlfriend like at blading camp. Like it's
Shout out, Ray.
shout out to Ray. Like it was it's been a really deeply powerful and transformative thing. It's love in community and positivity,
Yeah.
and like kindness, thoughtfulness, and like taking care of each other, and like treating other loving humans as
Yeah.
family, because
Yeah.
that's what you become. Like we say blading camp family, and that's
Wow.
that shit's real.
That's really
That's
good.
it's really it's really real. And it's in Malaga, Spain, off the southern coast of Spain, off the Mediterranean.
Cool. Right.
Beautiful,
Beautiful. Wow.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's hot and it's beautiful.
It's hot, but it's
Um,
beautiful. Yeah.
but like that blading camp experience for me, it was also like especially the first time, like a test of like my endurance, my body. Like you go to two
Right.
skate parks a day, you've got nature stops in between. Like it is a very active experience,
Goodness.
very active.
Yeah.
So I can't recommend it enough. There's an adult week called Fall Fling. That's when I usually go.
Hmm.
They do other weeks during. They have a spring session that has passed now, and they do a few other sessions over the course of the summer that are all ages. So you have youth from all over the world and adults from all over the world,
Wow.
like holding space for one another, sharing space, learning with and from one another.
Yeah.
Um,
That's cool.
it made my heart bigger, for real. It made my heart
That's
bigger,
good.
and broadened my awareness, self awareness, cultural awareness, um, in ways that I'm forever grateful for.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
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 that's really cool. Yeah, you always told me great stories about it, so I was like curious how that happens for you. But thank you for sharing that. That was really awesome.
yeah. Thanks, man.
What upcoming projects do you currently have going for yourself right now? I know you talked about a song, but is there anything else that you have currently you're working on this summer and into the fall?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've got a handful of songs that I've been sitting on for a little bit
Okay.
that I'm working on rolling out. So I'm
Perfect.
really excited to be releasing some music. It's been a little bit. It's been a little while since
Shout out clapping. I don't know. I didn't do that right.
it's been a while since I think the last time I released music was like 2019. So it's been a little while since some music has come out, which I'm super pumped about.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that I'm really looking forward to. Um, Also trying to like been building like so like write a performance set that is like more songs, like
Okay.
song based,
Yeah.
and then also been working on a performance set that's freestyle, so like fully improvised. So like
Nice.
working and trying to find ways of working in some beatboxing, some beat
Yeah.
rhyming, some like on the fly composition stuff, with
Amazing.
a loop station. So been working on that, which I'm really excited about,
Okay.
and been able to do some more performing across the city. Been able to do some performing with my homies over in Freestyle Plus. Freestyle Fitness is now kind of expanding into doing some performance stuff.
Wow.
We're doing a collaborative event with American Beatbox on Saturday, June 17th. It's going to be a workshop intensive that is focused on performance, street performance in particular. So
Ooh.
being able to
Okay.
like hold space for others, do dabble into like some beatboxing a little bit, but also have like the American Beatbox Embassy, this new space that they got, really sick.
Okay.
It can be amplified. You're by Port Authority, and you can perform to the people on the street. So there's a barrier, so they can't come
What?
in, but you can still talk to them and get information from them and work that into little games and routines.
Right.
So that's something that I'm going to be guiding people through, which I'm really excited about. That's a new thing. That's a very new thing.
Wow, that's really cool.
I should have mentioned it earlier too. I'm the creator of Props Game Show, which we've been called the American Ninja Warrior of freestyle rap.
Oh
And
yes, I remember.
yeah, we
Yeah.
challenge like MCs, improvisers, and some of the most absurd challenges, hyper specific rap challenges that folks need to complete in 16 bars.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah. That's been so.
Interesting.
We're gonna bring that back this year. We've been on pause for the last year and a half. They started during the pandemic as a virtual thing.
Hmm.
We had one in person that went really, 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 really well.
Nice.
One of my teammates, a collaborator, Heirloom Beats, was won a grant and was kind enough to use that to help fund this live props episode that we did. So really, really excited to have that as something that comes back. I think a lot of people see freestyle rap, and especially the type of freestyle rap that we do on props, as like impossible.
Mm.
And I think it's important to remind people that the impossible isn't always impossible, even if it is in this tiny little
True,
way.
true.
If
Yeah.
we can't, like it, how I look at it as like, it's like hope, right?
Hmm.
Like hope is a really important thing,
Yep.
and in dark places sometimes it feels like hope is impossible, and I think it's important to remind people that what seems impossible usually isn't. So being able to like challenge oneself and ourselves, and also with props, I just love putting people who normally wouldn't be in the same room
Right.
arting together
Uh,
to just see what they bring out of each other is really exciting. So props is going to be coming up. Freestyle Fitness will be continuing with our virtual programming, our in-person programming. I do
okay.
drop-ins, I do 4-week groups.
Nice.
Um, so I'm really excited about that, and looking to do some more collaborations, work with more education like institutions. I had the pleasure of doing a guest lecture at with my homie Ian Levy, Dr. Ian Levy, over at Manhattan College for their counseling department, and exploring the intersections
Oh,
between like freestyle rap and hip hop culture, and using that
nice.
as a means of like connecting with youth in a like counseling setting.
Yeah.
So that I've also had the pleasure of collaborating with the Academy of Noise and delivering some beatbox programming with youth. And
I
I
love
think
that.
it's really important. Like the arts help people connect with themselves, and they help other people. They help you learn to think more critically and
Yes.
explore different ways of thought, and be exposed to different ways of thinking and being and doing things. And I think that's
I agree.
really, really, really important right now.
Oh
Um,
man, it is
the
so much.
U.S. education system hasn't progressed past the Industrial Revolution, where they were training kids to
Hmm.
work in factories. It's just memorize, do, memorize, do,
Yep.
memorize, do.
Yep.
And so, it's important, I think, to be able to do that. So I'm excited about more of these, exploring more of these like intersections in terms
Yeah.
of like communities and education, and do as much performing in as many places as I can, in as many different ways as I
Yes.
can, with as
Please,
many
please,
people
please get back out there.
as I can,
Yeah.
and to hold space and facilitate for those, and try and give people that boost and that energy, and reflect their dopeness, like their amazingness back at them, because I think so many people are so amazing, and the society, the world, our culture,
Yeah.
just it tries to demand you be something and fit a certain shape or a certain
Oh,
mold, and
I know.
you don't need to, even if that's just in this 90 minutes window of, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
you can I do my best to practice. Someone once told me that freestyle fitness is a practice in radical inclusion, which
Ooh.
I
Okay.
was
All
is a
right.
pretty high compliment.
Yeah, I like that.
And it's important. I want to keep pushing myself, encouraging others to push
Yeah,
themselves.
of course.
And yeah, this is a very long answer, but
No, it's
really
great. You got
excited.
some good stuff coming up, so
Thank
I
you.
love hearing that.
Yeah.
Not just as an audience member, but also as your best friend. But just a little clout. So, last before we close out, can you let our audience know where they can find out more about these upcoming shows? Where they can find out more about you? Do you have a website or anything?
Yeah,
Like, where can
yeah.
they?
You can learn more about me and what I do. You can go to trustbs.com. You can follow me on all socials at trustbs. You can follow Freestyle Fitness on Instagram at Freestyle Fitness NYC. No punctuation in any of those things. Is just, like Trust BS, TRUSTBS, Freestyle Fitness NYC. And yeah, connect with me. Come talk. I'm a big old nerd. I'm a comic book nerd. I'm a rap nerd. I'm a rollerblade nerd, and I love. I
Wow.
like to think of myself as living in the rabbit hole, and I love when people come. I love when people come to visit. I am a hyper curious, hyper interested party, and I am not the gatekeeper of all knowledge. I do love being like the problem poser, and like oh, what can
Ooh.
we explore?
Okay.
Can we explore together? What do we learn with each other, from each other, as we're
True.
exploring? So
True that.
if that sounds like up your alley, Come hang with this ADHD brain rapping mental health advocate. And would love to see you, would love to meet you, and would love to get to know more about you and connect and see what we can learn about each other from each other.
All
It'd be
right.
a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Well, thank you, BS. It was a great little touching outro.
Thanks, Dak.
I hope to have you back again sometimes if you would
Yeah.
love to come back and co-host with us. So, everyone, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. And yeah, thanks for listening. And stay positive out there and try not to destroy the world.
Don't fuck it up.
Don't fuck it up. Later.
I'm like, man, I really